Rev up your engine! If you've been watching my videos, you might notice there's all kinds of spray cans sitting over here. And you might think, why on earth does Scotty have all those different spray cans? And the simple answer is this. One can does not fit all. There are various cans that are used for various things. So I'm going to show you what I've used that works best for particular situations, because you don't want to use the wrong spray for the wrong application. And numero uno is mass airflow sensor, MAF Cleaner. If you're going to clean your MAF sensor on your car, you can only use something that's made for that. You can't use carburetor spray cleaner. You can't use brake spray cleaner. You need MAF sensor cleaner, and here's why. Your mass airflow sensor, this one's right here, it measures how much air goes into the engine in grams per second. It's a very sensitive sensor, measuring grams per second of airflow. You want to keep it clean. Even though it's after the air filter, there's often dirt and stuff that can get on it, clog it up. Does not leave any residue. If you use any kind of spray that leaves a residue, the residue will affect the readings and the car won't run right. Plus, it could damage it. The MAF Cleaner doesn't damage anything. This particular one is CRC, but any of them that say mass airflow sensor, they all work perfectly fine. Just don't use anything else. Now the next spray on my shelf is white lithium grease. Spray white lithium grease. This particular one is made by a company called Zep, but as long as it's white lithium grease spray, it's the same stuff. Doesn't matter. It's for metal on metal contact. So it's great for things like sticking latches for the hood. It coats the metal on metal, stays on a long time, and lubricates. It's also fantastic for door hinges. Anything that's metal to metal, and the hinge up here, metal to metal. Not only does it stop noises and squeaks, it lubricates so it reduces friction, and it also can prevent rust and corrosion. It's a great preventative spray, and if it's already rusted, it's great for spraying it on and get rid of the squeaks and keep it from coming back. What else is here? Well, here's a safety spray. It's called Cold Fire. Great to have in an emergency. When you have a fire starting, you spray this stuff on. It does exactly what it says. It not only puts out the fire, but it cools the whole area so it doesn't flare back up. I got a whole video on this too. Basically, you got a fire, everything's hot, it ignites, right? If you just put the fire out, the stuff is still hot, it can easily reignite. This cools it down. It's great. I always have it here in case of an emergency. Now, of course, this is for a small emergency. For any kind of serious emergency, I have this Halotron fire extinguisher. It's like Halon, and it's really great for putting out fires. But that little spray can, you get a little something starting while you're working on a car, you quick spray that on, man, it's gone. And it doesn't do any damage either. And as in the case of any fire extinguishing material, have it readily accessible. You see, mine's right here. I've used it once in a while where, oh, whew, something started, I quick grab it and spray it out. Don't have it hidden away somewhere where you can't find it. Now, the next thing I have is AT205 Reseal. Now, it's just a liquid in a bottle. They actually used to sell a spray bottle, but it was kind of a rip-off. You didn't get much in it. So what I do is I just buy the liquid form, and then I pour it in an old Windex bottle so I can squirt it on stuff. Now, a lot of times when I use the AT205 Reseal, it rejuvenates rubber. I'll pour it in the engine oil because it's compatible with that for engine oil seals. Put it in the automatic transmission if it's got a leaking seal to try to rejuvenate it. Even attempt to fix leaks in a power steering system. Now, those are 1500 psi and up, so it may or may not work, but if you put a couple ounces of this in and it slows down the leak, it's worthwhile. And if I really need to spray it on something, say bushing on the lower control arms on the car where the rubber bushings are bad, I just take the bottle, I stick this tube in from my spray gun, then you just push the button. Now comes the spray, and you can really soak stuff. Now that's what I call a real aerosol spray. These spray machines are great. Of course, you need an air compressor for it. Realize that? So just pouring it in an empty spray bottle and then spraying it is good for most applications. You can easily do that yourself. Now what's the next can I use all the time? Brake spray cleaner. In this case, it's the non-chlorinated one. You want to be green? Get stuff that says non-chlorinated. Now, when you're done doing a brake job, it's very important that everything is perfectly whistle clean. Our fingers are full of oil. Sometimes the brake fluid leaks on the system and you need to clean that off too. But even human grease on your fingers, the oil, it will make hot spots on your brake system where the oil is that can cause problems. You want them whistle clean when you're done with the job. So when you're done, you can just spray everything with this. And let's say you did have a mess. A brake hose blew or a caliper was leaking fluid and there's fluid all over the whole brake system. This is great for spraying all around and cleaning all the stuff off because it drips down and then it just evaporates and it doesn't leave any residue. It's great for doing brake work. You really need to have a few cans of this around if you do brake work, because you're not going to say, oh well, I'm done but it's dirty, but I don't want to drive to the store. Have the stuff lying around in the first place. And for you true fanatics out there of noise, it does remove brake dust. So if you got a car, say one with old drum brakes, the dust builds up inside. Take it off and spray this and clean the dust off, the noise will go away. Can even help with noise, but mainly it's to get rid of grease and gunk and brake fluid, human oil when you're working on the brakes, because you want to have them clean when you're done. All of your car's kinetic energy turns into heat when you step on the brakes, so you don't want to have any hot spots where there's grease when it's braking, because they won't work right then. Now the next can is Carburetor Cleaner. Alright, so I'm an old timer. I'm a dinosaur. I still have a few cars and motorcycles I work on that have carburetors. But hey, even you might have something lying around. Your lawn mower that has a gas engine in it. You live up north, the snow blower. Carburetor Cleaner is great for cleaning carburetors. And truth be told, modern cars that have throttles that are electronically controlled, the throttle plates can still get varnish built up on it, and this works perfectly fine for that. As I said before, you wouldn't be using this carburetor cleaner on a MAF sensor, only use a MAF sensor cleaner. But this can also be used to clean throttles. Pretty much the same stuff when you get a can that says throttle spray cleaner. It's the same thing. It's cleaning the gunk off the throttle, just like this cleans gunk off of carburetors. Let's say you're like me, you live in a city, but you still got a chainsaw. Maybe a storm comes, tree falls down, you got to cut it apart. You haven't used that chainsaw in years. Well, the carburetor's all gunked up and won't start now. Well, you got a can of this lying around, you know, they don't cost much, just a few bucks. Then you'll be able to clean it and get it going again instead of saying, oh, there's a storm, the tree's down and my chainsaw won't start. Because realize all the chainsaws that I've ever seen have carburetors on them. I haven't seen any fuel injected one jet. Now the next spray can in there, Mother's Instant Detailer. And it works quite well. As it's called, Instant Detailer, that's what it does. You want to do touch-ups or glossy shines in between when your car's washing, but it's handy to have in your trunk because you come out and you find out that birds have crapped all over your car. Well, bird crap is extremely acidic. It'll eat your paint up. You spray this stuff out, wipe it off and clean it, voila. You drive it on the road and splash. Crap comes off the tires, gets all on the paint. Squirt it down, wipe it off. And of course, have a microfiber towel inside so you don't scratch your paint to use the stuff with. Or if you're a real fanatic and the neighbor's cat has walked on your car and left little kitty footprints, you can quick squirt them and wipe them off and make it look shiny again. I often use it when I get a fanatic customer with a fanatic car, so when I'm done working on it, I take all my grease prints off of stuff so they get a whistle clean car back. They don't want to send me a clean car and get back a dirty one. Now the last spray can I have is spray silicone. As you can see, it's all rusty on the top because it lives outside here in the rain, but hey, all these years, still works perfectly fine. All I can say is old and rusty, old and trusty. I've been using this stuff for years. Now, silicone spray has very good usage because it tends to repel water. So, as I've shown before, if your power windows stick, you can just lubricate the runners on the front and the back. I got a whole video on that. They don't bind, they'll work smoother, and guess what? It won't strain your window, electric motor and motor regulator, so they might stick and then bend or break or burn out. You only got to do it maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Very easy thing to do. You just spray the runners here where the glass goes, and here where the glass rides up and down. Then you just roll it up and roll it down. You can see how smooth these things go, and they're 13 years old. Now, of course, you do this stuff in the shade, and then you just wipe the extra residue off. And if you don't want cables to bind, rust or stick, hey, you can just spray them where the cables go into the sheath. Then they won't bind when they open and close. Just heed this one warning about any kind of silicone spray. It's great for lubrication like that and to prevent corrosion. Don't ever use it when a car is running, because if the silicone spray gets sucked into the engine, that can destroy the oxygen sensors, mess with the catalytic converter. You don't want to do that. So you only use that on a car when the engine's not running. Put it on stuff. And if you're on anything like a car windows, doesn't really matter, you're way back there. But under the hood, don't spray it around while the engine is running. So now you know what some of these cans are for that have been sitting here for years next to my garage, and you see on my videos. And since this is Mechanic Monday, I'll be giving away a sample of all of them. To have a chance to win, place a clean, non-offensive comment on the YouTube comments below to get sprays that Scotty uses to help maintain and fix cars. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.